Guess who's back in the house? Today is Sunday, and I wanted to come on live to discuss Flame Monroe's interview with the Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club interviewed comedian Flame Monroe on Friday, and I've I first discovered Flame Monroe when she was interviewed by the Young Turks, and I think that interview was about 3 months ago, and she was discussing Tiffany Haddish presents They Ready. And I was shocked for two things. One, that Flame actually lives in Long Beach, California, and she's been doing a stand up comedy show and drag show in Long Beach since as long as I have lived in California, and I never heard of her. And so I was saddened that I have never supported her. And so I would love to do that in the future. I think artists should support other artists. It makes our lives easier. And so I try to support artists whenever I can, no matter how I can. I found it interesting how Flame self identifies, and Flame self identifies as transgender, but also as a dad of three. And I think it's, before I go further to the interview, I think it's important that individuals, no matter what their gender identity is, no matter what their gender is, their gender assigned at birth, and no matter their sexuality, they should be allowed to identify how they choose to. That is very important. When I meet someone, I don't gender them. I try to use the pronouns that they are comfortable with me using so I can create a safe space with them. That is extremely important. The thing with Flame is that because of this show, They Ready, with Tiffany Haddish, she now has a platform to showcase herself and reintroduce herself to the world. I never saw this, but apparently she was on Comic View in like the early 90s as a female presenting transgender comic. And it was unheard of. Like in the 90s, the topic of being transgender was not talked about. It was not talked about. And so um, Flame is someone who can be seen as a trailblazer. And if anyone has a link to her on Comic View, which is on BET, please send it to me. I want to see this clip. And apparently it's like controversial because it was of her going back and forth with Cheryl Underwood. And so I really want to see this clip. And so the thing that I think can be a little confusing is how Flame identifies. And the kind of like one thing that's kind of tricky with people who are trans and they have transitioned after having children, that their children will often call them by the pronoun or title that they are used to calling them pre-transition. And so I totally get that and I respect that. So if someone who is male to female, they transition after having children, their children will often call them mom or mother, or their name get assigned at birth. I totally get that. But I find it interesting that Flame in the public eye identifies as a dad and has kind of like coined this name for herself, he, she, we, and she states that she is all of those things, he, she, and we, because um, he cashes the check. How does she just? It's like he cashes the check, she makes the money, and we spend it together. I think that's how she says it. And on the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne was introducing her, and he actually misgendered her and called her a he at one point. And I I get it just because of the way that she identifies, and now people actually call her he, she, we. If someone is male to female and they have fought for people to call that person female pronouns, they have fought that people call them by their new name, they have legally changed their name, and they go in public female presenting, it can really impact their life for another person in the public eye who is male to female. Flame has had top surgery. Who Flame, when in the public eye, when getting paid, is female presenting, but this female presenting trans woman is okay with you calling her male pronouns. I think that can be very confusing for a lot of people. And during the interview, Flame stated that she is not female, but she impersonates women. And so I think it's probably, I don't understand why Flame identifies as transgender, where to me it sounds like she is more non binary, that she goes against this ideal of gender, and she doesn't conform to the idea to gender as defined in today's society. She seems gender binary and not someone who is trans female, just because of the comments that she says. And Flame lets everyone know that when she is not getting paid, she is not female presenting, but she is more and I wouldn't even call it male presenting, but she is someone that is kind of like gender queer when she is not Flame. And so I really wanted to have a discussion about Flame being in the public eye and the importance of allowing Flame to identify how she feels comfortable, but what it means for the transgender community. I think it is such a delicate conversation that needs to be had because, like, I feel like the trans community is making a lot of strides today in entertainment, in politics. We have a lot of transgender people in politics. And I actually went to a panel today that was for Transgender Day of Remembrance. And someone stated that, in a decade, we will have a lot more transgender people in the public eye. We will have a lot more transgender people in politics. And we could possibly have a presidential candidate who is transgender. And so there are a lot of strides that are being made, but I really am interested in what the transgender community as a whole thinks about Flame Monroe, especially transgender black women. Flame is black. And so I'm curious about kind of like what trans women of color, black women, really think about Flame and how she identifies. I because I think that's important, um, and I don't want Flame to get like hate mail from any communities, but a lot of people in the comment section of that video on the Breakfast Club were really applauding Flame for quote unquote speaking the truth. Like someone stated that I wish all transgender people would be this forthcoming and this truthful, where Flame's truth isn't everyone else's truth in the transgender community. One person, Flame does not represent the transgender community, even though she's in the public eye. I think a lot of people confuse being a public figure and being the spokesperson for the community, whatever community they represent, and she's not a spokesperson. And so I hope this creates more dialogue because I feel as if the Breakfast Club with the interview with Malik Yoba, there was a lot of damage that was done, and the trans community experienced a lot of backlash and hate that was completely unnecessary. And I think with this Flame interview that it will create more confusion because at the end of the day, Flame is a comedian and she's a comedian of a certain age. And I feel like a lot of women, and Flame is also a drag queen, so that kind of like really um, adds another layer onto who Flame Monroe is. And I feel a lot of drag queens of Flame's age really wanted to create the ultimate female illusion. And I feel a lot of drag queens of Flame's age, even though they might have identified as male, they would receive certain surgeries to complete the female illusion, but will still identify as male. And so I think that's also important to know as well. And so I would love to know all of your thoughts. Please leave your questions in the comment section and we will create a dialogue. But before I end this video, I want to say thank you to all isolating. And so I love creating these videos. That way I can reach a larger number of people and get that kind of like immediate interaction and connection. So thank you all for subscribing. I really appreciate it. I try to update and add content at least once a week. And actually, today I uploaded a new video from a panel that I attended for Transgender Day of Remembrance. And that was a powerful panel. Please watch that video, but one of the panelists is a black trans female. Her name is Fatima Malika Shabazz. And I loved everything she said. She unfortunately was incarcerated for a period of time and was trying to get sex reassignment surgery while in prison and experienced a lot of setbacks, hardships, uh, trying to get the reassignment surgery. And since being released from prison, she has created her own nonprofit organization called Fatima Speaks. And she partners with different organizations, businesses to really spread the word about what it means to be black and transgender in today's society. Hi, Deshaun. I hope that you're having a lovely day. Thanks for watching. Um, but she actually has a GoFundMe. And if you just Google Fatima Shabazz or Fatima Malika Shabazz, you will find it. Please support her. She is doing amazing things in the community. Actually interesting, and I love this panel because like it was very diverse. There were people from all walks of life, and the moderator, his name is Nate Looney, and he is a trans male veteran farmer. Oh wait, I got a lot of questions. Oh wait, the comment disappeared. So ask your question again, Deshaun. It like appeared and then like disappeared. So Nate is a black trans male who's a veteran and farmer and Jewish, and he was incredible. And he runs a farm, and I believe it's called the Urban Gardener. I found him fascinating, and actually there was a brunch that occurred before the panel and actually sat beside him. And I actually wish I would have picked his brain more because I just find him completely fascinating. And so it was such a great panel. But I don't know if any of you watched the LGBT presidential candidate forum. So there is a black trans female, Blossom, who um, kind of was given the mic by someone to talk about the lack of black trans female. Oh wait, I got a question. Can you be straight as a guy and support the gay community? Because there was a trans woman. Oh, it just disappeared. So I guess the first part of your question was, can you be straight and support um, the I think it was trans or gay community? Definitely. You can be straight and be an ally or supporter and actually learn the difference between ally and supporter today at the panel. And so, as an ally, you are someone who understands and tries to work for or let others know about civil rights, saying that they're gay and make the community because there was a. Oh, okay, I think I know who you're talking about, but I don't really know the story. But so an ally is someone who isn't necessarily a supporter. So a supporter is someone who can financially back projects or individuals to further LGBT issues and causes. And so someone who is straight can be an ally or supporter. And with your question, I don't remember the story, but I know the person who was recently in the headlines, who was the trans woman who actually, I think she sued a company. But kind of like for your overall question, you can be straight and be an ally or supporter of the community. I have to really research that particular story more, um, just because I didn't understand kind of like everything that was involved with that particular story. But I am familiar with it. Um, and so I am going to force. I'm a very poor individual, but I'm going to try to be more of a supporter of the trans community, to put my money behind different causes for especially transgender artists. I'm going to try to do that, um, within the new year. In the new year, I plan on backing more causes, um, and things that I kind of like hold dear. One organization that I will always support is a black LGBT organization based out of California called In the Meantime. In the Meantime provides, um, countless programs for black LGBT individuals, from housing assistance, mental health counseling, mentorship. They also have weekly talks and workshops that can be anything from sex education to understanding the importance of mental health, um, to even doing kind of like artist talks. And so I will always support them. It's a great organization. If you can, please donate to that organization. You can go to their website, and I believe it's in the meantime men.org. They have a magazine, a quarterly magazine that they publish and actually write for that magazine. And so it's a great organization. The founder, Jeffrey King, founded Black Gay Men's Health Month, which is in August. And he provides amazing programming for the month of August geared towards, health. And so, I challenge everyone who, you know, has subscribed to my channel, who watches this video, to really start supporting transgender people, especially black trans women and trans women of color. They really need our help. One of the biggest takeaways from the panel today was how difficult it is for transgender people to actually receive employment. It's something that impacts their, um, overall life. Not being able to find work can really affect your life overall, especially if you don't have support from your family, if you have lost all of your friends because you have transitioned. And so it's something to really think about, is if you are a person of power in your company who has say so with people getting employed, think about really reaching out to transgender transgender individuals who are qualified to work at your company. That's really important. So, I hope that you guys enjoy the video. Tomorrow, I will be posting another video on my cool sculpting experience. So stay tuned for that. I hope that you guys have a lovely day. And if you haven't already, please like and share this video and stay tuned for more. Besos.